everyone, welcome back to another video. I ordered these. It's a brand from Poland and it's called Kowal Sketchbooks, and I've been trying to find some really nice sketchbooks because I wanted to try cotton, 100% cotton paper. However, some books online or even at the stores, like art stores, sell branded ones that are not, they don't have the greatest watercolor paper because the paper is not even in the, I think it's called stretching, I want to say. And so I'm coming across issues with my watercolor not coming out very well. And I want to say it's because of the paper. It's not even all the way across the page. There are some parts that are really good and will take the water like washes and some of the techniques that I like to do, but others don't. And it's just, it gets really frustrating. So I wanted to focus on some really nice sketchbooks that I will be more selective when it comes to like my sketchbook like this one. And actually I will also do a flip through of this sketchbook in this video as well. But these arrived. I picked the cheapest shipping, which was like I want to say 16 EU, I believe. It came in about 8 days, which is actually pretty quick for like nothing fancy. Anyway, you can see the price here is kind of pricey, but they were on sale and I just jumped on the opportunity. So let's unbox it and see how they look. So I'm actually sitting. I was standing at first, now I'm sitting, and I'm excited. I actually saved this unboxing for today when there was better lighting, but I realized as I am filming on my new canvas with my phone, the lighting doesn't really matter if it's like super weird and cloudy. My phone really does a good job at adjusting than my camera, or maybe it's just user error because I'm not the best with my camera, even though I've had it for a while. But it's hard to adjust that, and I think I'd have to adjust it in the settings in my editing, and I still haven't got it to the best. Whereas when I edit from videos from my phone, I don't even have to edit the color. It just turns out really nice. So these were well wrapped. Just making sure I'm in frame. And ooh, I'm really excited. I did do a bit of research before I bought these. It was between Kowal, some other sketchbooks that are in Europe, and from Etcher also. But the Etcher like sketchbooks that are reasonably priced are landscape, and I wanted something that is 5.5 by 8, like an A5 size, that opens up like this one. So Etcher did offer those, but they were really expensive, and I thought, well, if that's the case, I can probably get some that are just as expensive in the size that I want with a different paper. I think this is Fabriana paper. So I got 2 sketchbooks because I figured if I was paying for shipping, I might as well try to find another sketchbook that was on sale. They didn't have a huge sale. These were probably like one-offs, and I figured let's just dive in and use them, or dive in and get them. So these are really well packaged. So this is the first one. And they sent some watercolor sheets so that I can test my watercolors on, and a sticker. I will save this box for shipping if I need to ship something. Same with this one. Nice. Okay, so initially I was going for the larger size, and then I found a smaller size that was also on sale. So I was going for the size, which is a B5, I believe. Yeah, B5. And I also came across this one, which is the A5. Well, actually, I'm not so sure. I thought it was A5, but I guess it's a mix between A5 and an A6, like in between, maybe a B6, because this is an A5. So definitely a little bit shorter. I think it's a mix between the two. I love that they're hardcover. That was the other thing I wanted. I really enjoyed the hardcover of my Etcher sketchbook. I just was tired of it being landscape. I wanted the top and bottom height than the landscape, because the landscape meant that I needed more desk space this way than vertical. And I like to I like to rest my hand on the paper sometimes, and when I was doing it here, I was resting it almost all the way across this paper because it's so long. And the last sketchbook I had, and the one I'm currently using, has a soft cover. So I really wanted a hard cover, and I think that was one of the reasons I was attracted to this brand, because I don't think that they sell soft covers. Also, some of the other brands I looked in that had nice quality also had a lot of soft cover options, and even leather soft cover options, which was appealing, but I also still wanted something like a hardcover that I can store and keep forever versus a soft cover. Another thing I really liked is that they have, is that magnetic? No, I just thought it was magnetic. But they have this band, and the band is not attached, so I can actually use it for my Hobonichi if I wanted to, which was a nice touch, because as much as I like having the band to close, especially your notebooks, like the Etcher, it's attached, so it's like, what if you don't want the band? Then you have to cut it off. And here it probably would look not as nice if you were to cut it off. But here it can just be removed all the way. Also, a cool thing is that you can have your pen pouch, your accessory pouch connected with it. So if I wanted to kind of take everything together, that's what this band can do. So I kind of liked that appeal. So I should probably put this back. So this was the B5 Fabriano 300 grams, 100% cotton paper. And this is 17 by 25 centimeters, or 6.9 by 9.8 inches. And they have a black cover, which is this one, and then they also come with a pink cover. And for some reason, I wasn't able to select the pink cover at the time. It was weird. It didn't give me the option to select the pink, so I think it wasn't in stock. But now they do have it as I'm filming this video. So these are actually made by hand, these sketchbooks, which is also another reason why the price is a little bit more than other sketchbooks you can find on Amazon. Ooh, nice. And so they offer like information. So the rubber band, creative solution for creative people. Don't know what you're gonna do, sketching, reading book, or maybe listening music, no problem. Grab all the stuff. And so you can use the band to keep all your stuff together. When you use your sketchbook, put the rubber band to the last cover page so you won't lose it. And keep all your art equipment together using the solid and strong rubber band. So you can not only use it vertically, but also horizontally if you have like a lot of things that you're gonna take with you. And this is new. It says Sketchbook Anatomy. It's really cool. This is really pretty. I present to you your new extraordinary sketchbook. Soon the sketchbook will change its form. It will not be as empty as it is now. The blank pages will get covered in something special, your art. You will make it unique by sharing a part of yourself. Every detail of the sketchbook was handmade, beginning with preparing the paper, gluing, making the cover, and finally putting everything together. It was extremely important to me to put all my efforts into creating the best product possible. I have used the best materials to bring the sketchbook to life. Certified cotton papers, thread of the best value, adhesives, and environmentally friendly veneers. Every single component has been sourced from verified European manufacturers. Is it Taway Cowd? I can't understand the, I can't really read the writing here as to who it is, but this is really cool how they have that. And so let's take a look at the paper. Oh, they even offer a sheet of paper. That's new. And so, yes, 44 pages. And so that's about 88 pages back and front, which is a lot more than what you'll get in other notebooks. Cold press, Fabriana Artistico, 100% cotton, acid-free, archival quality, and square corners. There's no watermarks. I've noticed some of the really nice, expensive watercolor paper has the watermarks, which I feel like can get in the way of your painting, especially if you're going to be scanning the artwork. But this one doesn't have any, and it does offer the additional loose paper. So that is this book, and then this is just a smaller version of the same thing. It was also on sale. It's also Fabriana Artistico paper, and it comes with the same. Oh, this is different. Never mind. It comes with this sheet, and then it has the extra watercolor sheet. This one, I want to say has the same amount of paper as I'm actually looking online right now. And this one has 44 sheets as well. So it has a different, unique image here with some of the same information on the card as the other one. And it's just a smaller version. So I'm really excited. I think I want to start with this one before I start with this one. But before I do anything, let's jump into the my last sketchbook. So I want to put this away. So these are this is really sturdy, and the corners are really nice. It's gonna protect the pages. I'm really impressed. I don't think that there's no like pouch back here or anything like that. This is stitch bound, and this cover is very sturdy. It's not gonna bend. All right, so let's get into my Etcher sketchbook. This one, I think, took me a couple months to finish. I finished it a while back, probably 2 to 3 weeks ago. And I started from the back page. Just want to make sure I'm still in frame. Okay. So I started with this as like a tester page to see how well the paper reacted to watercolor and how well, this is like, I want to say maybe my second time using 100% cotton watercolor paper. The first time was years ago when I got a pad of really fancy, I call it fancy at the time, watercolor paper, but I wasn't really I didn't know much about what I was doing with watercolor. Watercolor was mainly, I didn't know what I was doing with the watercolor at the time. It was mainly for fun and play. But now that I'm really trying to learn the different forms and everything you can do with the watercolor, I am really taking it more seriously. So as you can tell, this is already my second sketchbook that I've completed since this year. Making sure I'm still in frame. So working on some watercolor flowers. Sorry, my chair's squeaky. And I really liked these flowers. This is the handmade watercolor that I used here, and it does smear on the other side, so I think this is probably the only place I used it, but the rest are professional Winsor & Newton or Daniel Smith. So a lot of these images you have seen, as mainly most of them are artwork that I make for you guys. One of the things I've noticed about this notebook is that because I scan the images in and I have a scanner that has to close, it has made some of the sheets loose, as you can see here. And in many cases, I will flip the book in watercolor because I am right-handed, and it felt awkward painting on like this side in most cases. I never finished this. I might finish it one day. More flowers. I really like this one. And then you saw my rose. I meant to scan this in, I just haven't done it yet. And you've seen this, and you've seen this. This was part of the numbers, I think, for September. Practicing loose watercolor, which I didn't really care for, and I actually prefer more detailed watercolor art. Every once in a while, I don't mind trying to make something a little bit more loose, like this and like this, but I really like this. I like the detail. This is that room I created, practicing like wildflower watercolor flowers. And this is one of the ones I don't know why I did it on this side. It's kind of weird. But my little teapot and then I did paint this one. It smeared a little bit, but I was able to fix that in post. And you could see, actually I made this into a canvas artwork and sent it off to my family where they could pick it up at Walgreens. And so some of my family members have this as like an art piece I was able to scan it and put it in to create multiple images of these throughout the artwork and or throughout the canvas, and it came out really cool. You've seen this one. This one took me so long, so many hours, but I do love how when you start really light and then start adding the layers, how much depth you can see in these tomatoes. I didn't add as many layers on this part. I did add a few layers on the mushrooms, but not as many as I did on the tomatoes. And there's just some magic when you add layers on tomatoes, or layers in general to watercolor. You've seen this one. Not a huge fan of this. It just seems so loose to me, and I'm not great at loose artwork yet. And it's something I need to practice, and something I rather not practice, and I would rather spend my time practicing more detailed work like this and the cups. This was a failed art piece. I got to a point where I really liked the background, and then I started painting the flowers, and then I messed up here when I was doing the layers on the background and on part of the leaf background. So I wasn't going to continue to use all my watercolor. So this one did not turn out the way I wanted it to, and therefore I just stopped working on it. Writing some different words with watercolor, and I really liked how they turned out. This is probably one of my favorite images. And then this fall window. You've seen the bird. I mainly focus on detail artwork, and then I kind of realized that I leave out the background more often. So now that I am a little bit more comfortable with watercolor and detail, I think to start making more compositional work, I need to start moving from my subject to like the background to complete the work. And I'm getting there. I'm just not there quite yet. So you've seen these images, the bird, and then I made this flower, and I was practicing with adding detail to a flower with layers, and then also adding an underpainting, which is where you add, it's usually where you add yellow to your painting, where you want the painting to be a little bit brighter. And this was my first attempt at that. And then my lovely duck, who is just floating on the page, but I really like the duck. I really like the shade of blue, and just adding the layers to give the effect of shadow. And then I made some girls, and I really wanted to make them a little bit more of like obscured, where you can't really see the face and you don't really know what they look like. But this one came out okay, and then I felt like, oh, I can't do it with this position, so it was just kind of awkward. But I do, if you remove this part of their faces, I feel like I really like her outfit, and I really like their hair and their hats. But that's just me critiquing, and I could have done a better job with the background, and I could even go in and add another layer so that you could really see the trees that are closer to where they're standing. And it seems like I was trying to get the image to blur, but I didn't do the best job. Okay, so then this is where I was working on doing some more color swatching with mixing colors and trying to see how many colors I can get from mixing some of these new colors that I received. And yeah, I can get a lot. One of my favorites is this one. And I was trying to be a little bit more particular in my color choices after getting this far in the notebook and with watercolor, that, you know, you can mix your colors to see what color you want. So that's why I started making those color charts, which are hanging on my shelf. And you've seen these images. Then I decided to make some fall trees, which I may add as a printable, but I did already add some fall trees already from last month. And then I taped off to make a border and tried these scenes that I found online. I kind of gave up because I just don't feel like I'm a landscape person. It kind of confuses me. I feel like I can accomplish a landscape better in gouache than with watercolor. And then some extra little elements. This swatch here, I'm going to upload for you guys because I really liked the colors and how they mixed. And you can see how awesome 100% cotton watercolor paper works with watercolor. Like, this is how watercolor should be mixing together. And then I just love how the outer edges make that really sharp edge. Then I was practicing with some leaves, and the first two I created were these two, but I knew they needed something else, so then I added these two. And I just love how drawing creating leaves that are warped and turned and folded. I just love how that looks, especially when you can accomplish it in watercolor. And then you recognize this image. And then I was trying to do more loose watercolor here, but didn't really care for it, so didn't work out. Tried to create this watercolor cottage scene, and that didn't work out either. I initially used a pencil or a fine liner to draw the scene out, but again, I am just not a fan of landscaping because I feel like I just don't have the patience for it. And then I tried to draw her. That was a fail, and working on my feathers. So here are the original images of the feathers and my peacock. This is an image of a peacock head really close together, because if you look at a peacock, they have a really large body in comparison to their head. So this was a super zoomed in picture of and really detailed, really great quality of a close-up of a peacock head. And they just have so many beautiful feathers and colors, and I tried to create that with watercolor, but still learning how to add detail on top of, while making layers. And the key is to make sure you start really, really light. And that is the problem I have. I need patience and I need to start light. Those are two things I am not good at. Practicing fall decor, and also some more fall decor, and trying to go in practicing without a plan and just doodling. And I realize I'm not good at that. I can't doodle in watercolor because it just comes out muck. I have to sketch it out and then watercolor, and then I'm left with something more like this and like this, rather than just going in straight with my watercolor brush to create something. And then we have my birds, which I absolutely love. I do wish I could have added a different type of background here to them, but they are a treasure, and I'm really proud of what I've been able to accomplish from the beginning of this notebook with these birds, this bird here, to this, and to create a full like composition. So I think I am improving, and I do like the blending technique I was able to accomplish with creating these birds and their feathers. And then I started taking some classes on Domestica with watercolor and using different techniques that involve things beyond water, a brush, and paint, but also using things like salt. And I really love how it just blooms out and makes these crystal-like structures. And so one of the classes I took, the painter, the artist, was talking about how she loves to use these techniques for her background because it's simple and easy to do, and almost like effortless. So I tried it and I agree with her. So I think it would be awesome to include in artwork to do things like that. And then I tried to incorporate a hand and a bird, and you've seen this one as a printable. And then working on another, like a maple leaf. Trying to do another like scenery type thing, and it still came out quite meh. I still try, but it never comes out the way I want it to, and I'm not really pleased with how this looks in the end. And then to finish it off, I completed this one, which is the thank you image that I sent out last month. And yeah, so that is my Etcher sketchbook. I did not date it, but it is documented through Patreon of when I made some of these images, so I will definitely be writing the date. There are some images that I did date, for instance, this one. So this was September 24th. I think this was September 26th. So I will be writing that in. And yes, also before I leave you all, I do want to talk about the extras they included. So there's stickers, which will go in Hobonichi, and then just a little bit about the different papers that they offer. So this is Fabriana Artistico 100% cotton natural white 300 GSM. Oh, this is the HP, which is hot press, so it's very smooth. And then this is cold press, which is what I prefer. And Saunders watercolor. This is hot press, cold press arches, cold press arches. These are both, oh, this is 300 GSM. This is 185 GSM. And you can see the imprint of what the Arches paper and Fabriano paper typically have, but they did not include them in the notebooks, at least not in my notebook. They wrote it on the website, whether or not it will have the stamping, but this one does. This is 300 GSM, 185. Maybe I didn't show that right. You can kind of tell it's a lot thicker. This one will fold. This one will fold too, but it's definitely Yeah, heavier. So let's swatch out some of my colors and let's use this little guy. I've already used it a little bit when I was doing some artwork in my new sketchbook. And let's see, we will just use a water brush because I don't have any water nearby. So let's see how this works. I mean, the 185 GSM watercolor paper, especially Arches, is going to work well, like beautifully. It's just that you can't put too much water on the paper because it will start to warp because it's not thick enough to handle it. My favorite color combination of two color of pigments is raw sienna or burnt sienna and ultramarine blue, because it makes the most incredible gray neutral color, and it blows my mind every time I love it. I love that color. It looks prettier when it's well mixed, but these two colors make the best color ever. Also, haven't worked with this color too much, but I just love the vibrantness it brings. Maybe not the best color to use for winter, but I could possibly maybe mix it with ultramarine. I haven't really worked with it that much. Okay, so let's see. So Fabriana Artistico, which is what my notebooks are made out of. Ooh, that's pretty. So this is the rose color from Winsor & Newton. There's a bloom. Oh yeah, look at the blooms on there. This is exciting. Can't wait to use the paper. Look at that. Okay, so hot press watercolor paper. 300 GSM. So if I wanted to go back into the color that I already laid on the paper, let's see if I can make the edges a little bit more blurry and pull out more of the color. I can pull out the color, but you could still see that hard edge. This is Saunders watercolor paper. Let me see if I can do it here. Let's go this way. Can I soften that edge? I think I can. Look at that. It almost disappeared. And that is Arches. Let's see, this is hard. This is hot press. I keep thinking H means hard. Hot press watercolor. Look at that blue. Let's see. It does a pretty good job blending. I feel like with the work that I create, hot press shows errors, or would show my errors much more easier. I really like the cold press. All right, and then let's see if we can make this hard edge a little softer by just rubbing it out. Which I can, but it's still a little bit there, just still a little visible. Yeah, so it probably doesn't work as well as Arches, but it's right up there in terms of really fine quality watercolor paper. So this edge kind of disappeared, but this one's still kind of there. But as I'm rubbing it, I'm not lifting the paper. Like there's no paper coming off as I continue to rub that, which is what's really nice about these expensive papers. So anyway, there's just some color swatches, and yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to let me know in the comments. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.